I mean, it took
We're
something
here.
like this Netflix series to get enough attention from everybody that we've never had before. So I really appreciate everything you guys have been doing, and obviously as well as everybody that there's for whatever reason a lot of negativity online about me and my family, and I don't get it, but it really is heartening, when you run across people like you that put out good information and accurate information, and are trying so hard to help. So we all appreciate you, not just me.
We appreciate you saying that because, yeah, no, we have strived to get the truth, and that's how we, learned that you guys were telling the truth. Because if you follow the truth, it's pretty easy to come to that conclusion. I think there's overwhelming evidence. Looking at your family, I think we can see right into your hearts. I really don't understand personally where the disdain is coming from. But hopefully we can clear a little bit of that up tonight with some people at
Yeah,
least,
I
right?
don't know. I mean, I think, I mean, I don't, I hesitate to even mention the word politics, but I think some of it comes from that. People understand, my position on certain things, and they automatically hate me for it and whatever. But, I think there's some of that. I think there's some awful suspicious characters online all of a sudden going, showing their desperation. In my opinion,
Yeah.
it's pretty curious, but I don't understand. I don't
That, yeah.
understand people that do things like that. But I wish they'd go do something else with their time. I mean, if you want to have an opinion that is different from ours, that's great. Move on and go do something. Go do something else. But you guys again, I can't tell you how much I appreciate y'all keeping the story out there. And Sandy, you're amazing. You guys don't even know the half of what Sandy does for us.
We can imagine, right?
So, but I appreciate everybody.
Yeah. I,
So we only wanted to ask a couple questions about the past because we really wanted to focus on the future and the present. And go ahead, Sandy. I felt like you were going to
I
say
was only
something.
going to
So
follow up real quick just to say that
mhm.
we are so thankful for TikTok, that we are thankful for TikTok. But what I meant to say is we are so thankful for Netflix and what it did do and putting it on this worldwide stage. But that is also some of the heat that I see that Bradley's getting of thinking like, well, why are they just now trying? This has been a
Mhm.
full-time job, 7 days a week for 27 plus years. And people, but this has just been the opportunity where the world has been able to see it and it's been elevated and it is causing more conversations. But to think that they haven't been trying all of this time is really just unbelievable.
Yeah,
But anyway, go right
We
ahead.
I guess people, of course, there's times and there's stretches that go by where there's not a whole lot going on. Nobody's listening. Nobody
Naturally.
is,
Sorry.
is interested. Nobody cares. Everybody, it's been too long, and the conversation stops. And I don't want to put on a facade like I haven't had a life going
Goki.
on over here. And my wife's amazing. We've got, obviously everybody knows I don't have kids, but we got really a couple of awesome little dogs, and my
Yes.
job's great. We got tons of friends. Play a lot of golf with my dad and my buddies, and life is good. But this when this thing came around, you know, I, it's the first time in 25 years that everybody's paying attention. And you've heard me say this on a number of interviews. I feel like I'm
Yeah.
repeating myself a lot, but you know, every opportunity we've ever been given, we take it because it would dishonor Amy if we didn't. And there's no way we're going to stop and not take advantage of this opportunity to make one last push, because I've said many times I think this is probably the last chance we get if we ever had one. So we're gonna just do all we can and push it to the end, and hopefully something good happens.
Mhm.
Yeah. Amanda, did you have anything that you wanted to say?
um I agree actually, but I also wanted to say that a lot of the people that say the things that they say, I know that I like make content and stuff, but some of the people that say the things that they say haven't researched. They have not researched this case because there
Right.
are archived files starting back in 1998. Like, I have dug so far back, and there's
Yep.
literal proof of all the things that you all have done, all the letters that you
Yes.
all have sent, all of the articles that have been put in newspapers over the years. Like, there is so much proof that we could show people and be like, look, they've been looking for her for years, just to dispel, because a lot of people like to, stick on that. But
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
yeah, there's proof if they
Yeah.
literally look.
There's not a month that's gone by that you can't find a piece of correspondence or an action or something between, the Bradley family in this case
Hmm.
since
Yeah.
it happened. Not a single month where you can't find something.
Yeah,
And
that's, yep.
I've even saw that, like, why don't the local news like cover it? I'm like, one of the local anchors here in this market literally flew to Curacao himself trying to find information and help the Bradley family. So to say that local news doesn't cover this is just crazy.
Yeah, we've been
Yeah.
on
Big story for a long time around here.
every channel you could possibly be on. I mean, so you know, we've done everything we can do. I'm sure there's things we haven't done that we haven't thought of ever, but that's why we're still at it. And there's been a lot of people online that have come up with some things that I never thought of before, and none of us have. So we're trying to implement those
Yeah.
things too. So yeah, here we are.
Yep.
I really think that
All right,
that
so
the internet may actually help you all in the long run. I really hope it does. I truly hope it does. But I feel like now you all have much more of a reach than ever.
Yeah, yeah. This didn't even exist when this happened. It's a whole different world now. So we're hopeful that the exposure and people ask all the time, what can they do? Keep talking about it, keep sharing it, keep reposting it, keep asking questions. Hopefully,
Yes.
it'll hit the right person, that knows something and will finally come forward.
yep.
That goes along with the meetings even the family has even been able to have here in this past month, from DC to Richmond to everything in between. That wouldn't have been happening if the pressure wasn't still being put on.
Doors are opening now. That's good. It's good to hear.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so just a few questions going back, and then, like I said, the rest of them are pretty much present in future. But these were our most repeated questions from our followers that they wanted to know. So, are you aware or have you ever heard reports of Amy spending any time in the designated crew area of the ship
No,
during this?
no, I don't know of any places that are typically off limits to passengers. I've never heard anybody say that. I mean, I guess people speculate, but I've never known it to be a fact that she was known to be in any of these areas. There was one waiter named David Cato, and there's been some debate over whether or not he is still alive or not. I've heard that he had passed, and then I heard some question about it, so I don't know. But he had actually, Amy worked at Ruth's Chris here in Richmond, which is a really nice steakhouse, and she was into the wines and the kitchen and all that kind of stuff. So he offered to take her and show her both the kitchen and the wine collection. I don't know that they ever did that, or maybe they did. I'm not sure, but no is the short answer to
Yeah.
that first question.
Okay. Um, and what would you guys consider to be some of the single most important requests that your family has been denied, whether it was authorities or the liner themselves, that could have possibly changed the course of this if it had been granted to you?
Well, obviously that morning, if the focus had been on actually helping us instead of minimizing liability,
Yeah.
if they had made an announcement that Amy was missing, if they had distributed pictures or put her pictures on everybody's TV, if they had kept everybody from disembarking that day on Curacao, because we not only lost the opportunity for thousands of extra eyes and ears to help us, nobody was even aware of it. They didn't even know to look. And I think that again, main focus of that company and those security officials was not to help us find her, but to limit
Yeah.
liability to that company. So as far as the FBI goes, I mean, sharing information somewhere along the line would have been nice. They dropped the ball, as I've said many times on different interviews, in regard to simply interviewing Crystal's mother, who let them into the room that morning just after 6 o'clock. And had they done that in order to corroborate the time frame the girls claimed that they saw Amy and Yellow go up that elevator, perhaps there would have
Yeah.
been enough information to detain him. But I don't. Over the years, that's one of the biggest things that I think we've missed out on is the sharing of information, so that we could put that together with everything that we had learned in our own investigations, and we just were never able to do that.
Um, a lot of people are stuck on your dad's keycard entry. We've made videos ourselves letting them know you guys don't have the lock link data. But I think it's a little bit difficult for people to understand how those 4 entries were there and then how you don't have the rest of the data. So I kind of just wanted to clarify all of that. We do not have the lock link data. Is
No.
that correct? So why do you think Lou picked what he picked to include in his report? Like, why do you think we even have that
Well,
right
the
there?
reason we have it is we were, provided certain pieces of information, limited information during discovery in the civil case, and that discovery process was halted by the judge and never was even completed. And that was obviously just prior to the dismissal. So we got certain pieces of information. I suppose, he chose me and Amy and Yellow's information. And I think Oscar's information was in there too, since they were roommates. But I mean, I suppose it's just because they were pertinent to the case and they were kind of the lead suspects at the time. And,
Yep.
I don't know. Maybe that's what our lawyers asked for. I don't even know the answer to that question. But no, we don't have a full set of LockLink records. I know people don't necessarily, at least the haters, don't care what I say. But my dad's when my dad came back to the room at somewhere between 2:30 and 3 o'clock that morning, it's irrelevant. I mean, what my dad did that night has absolutely nothing to do with anything. So
Yeah.
it didn't capture him coming back to the room at 7 o'clock right after he
Exactly.
told Costello that Amy that he couldn't find her. And my suspicion or my opinion is that that LockLink data wasn't included because it would have shed light on the fact that that's when my dad stated that he talked to him right outside the door, and therefore he would then not be able to claim that he only learned about her disappearance at 7:33. I don't know why certain things were left out. I think probably the company's attorneys had a little bit to do with what was provided and what was withheld. I don't know, but we certainly don't have all that information.
And I mean, you can see that because, like you just pointed out, you don't have Yellow's punch in from when he took his shower after. You don't have your mom and dad going to bed that night. There's thousands of. There's only four or five punches total. So all the other punches are missing. And I don't know why people are honing in on that one single punch from your dad when, if they were like really detectives, they would notice all the other punches are not there either. So I guess that one I just wanted to clear up once and for all because it doesn't make sense to question that when you have.
I think if you want to be negative and you don't want to help, that you look for any small thing to try to zone in on to create a narrative because you don't have anything else to talk about. So the fact that you don't have all of those other time marks are irrelevant. You just want to talk about the one that concerns Ron. So that just kind of shows you their motives and their reasoning behind that.
Yeah, people think
you don't have Yellow. You didn't have Ron's the first time. You didn't have Ron's later at 7. There's many that were not on there. It wasn't just Ron. So.
And since we're focusing on Dad, and people don't know him, and people think about a lot of stupid things, but my dad is the greatest guy I've ever known. He me and Amy uh, more than anything in the whole world, except for maybe my mom. I
Right.
mean, they've had a true love story. Our childhood was amazing. My dad is an amazing human being. He's the sweetest guy in the world. It's very hurtful to me for people to even consider um, that he has something to do with it, or that I don't even know how to put it. But it's very frustrating because they just don't know what a wonderful person he is. Um, so love you, Dad, if you're watching.
And
I mean,
yeah, and we know Amy gifted him a
Yeah.
sketch, right? Like shortly before that, of her and him together, and she wrote your mom that wonderful letter, which you don't get a letter like I haven't gotten a letter like that, and I'm a good mom, so you don't get a letter like that unless you're a pretty
No,
amazing
I mean,
person.
we had an awesome. I mean, we still have an awesome family. I mean, my parents and I, our relationship couldn't be any closer. And prior to that cruise, we have pictures of Amy sitting on Dad's lap, laughing and smiling, opening presents during Christmas. That sketch that she had done was of he and her out somewhere one night, and mom and Amy were super close. All this crap about there being any problem in our family about anything was ridiculous. But again, people can take what they want and think what they want. And all I can do is tell you the truth and let you know what the real deal is. But our Amy was more loved than most people I've known in my life. All that stuff is just unfortunate. But mom and dad are amazing people.
well, I feel like if your family had anything to do with it, Brad, they probably would not have chosen a Netflix documentary and put it on a worldwide stage and draw attention back to them. So,
Yeah, or go meet with the Senate Judiciary Committee and the Lieutenant Governor and the Attorney General's office, and
Or right, the president, Bill Clinton, 2 weeks after it
just
happened, with a
Mm-hmm.
little bit of an attitude like, "Hey, we're American citizens and we want to know what's going on." Ron was fighting for his family. You could see the fierce father come out in that letter. That letter was so telling.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of my nails for me when I read that. I
yeah.
could
I
feel
think
it.
I think the people, the naysayers and the contrarians, and there's an agenda there somewhere, and I don't. I'm yet to figure out what it is, but there's something more than just people having opinions going on, and it's increasingly obvious over the past few weeks for whatever reason.
Absolutely. And so, just to get off the key cards completely, I have one last question. So Oscar Alexander's key card came out to us, the public, a little bit later. I'm sure you
Mhm.
guys had it. Are there any other key cards that you either can't tell us or can't say, or is this all? Is this it? Is this the
Um,
only
that's
data we're ever
that's
going to
pretty
get from
much
that?
what we have, and that company is not going to provide us with anything. I'm sure there's records that are no longer available. Is what I would probably imagine. The FBI, again, in
Yeah.
our experience over the years, has never shared with us anything. It's simply, and I understand there's privacy concerns and this and that, but we were never privy to the passenger list. We don't know who else was on that boat. We don't know anything about anything. None of it was shared with us, so I don't know.
All right. Do you guys have any more? Amanda, do you have any more questions before I jump into the next part? Because that was pretty much it for the past.
Yeah, not about that one. I don't. Mm-mm.
Okay. So I wanted to take this time with you guys up on the screen. Oh, I'm not doing this. I don't know how this is happening.
you're
But
acting like me now.
I'm not touching anything. I'm literally not touching anything. Um, so I just wanted to say while we were on the screen that we had just posted a video from a very disturbing document, the Senate hearing, and I know I shared it with Brad, but this was a Senate hearing. So Governor of Virginia, John Rockefeller, John McCain, and many other government officials, they spoke out about the serious impact of the 1886 Passenger Vessel Service Act, which apparently is the big enemy here. Because on the outside it's disguised as one thing, but on the inside it pretty much protects this industry from having to comply with any of our regulations or some of the things. So They brought a specific incident to Senate that I really just wanted to share today. We had a family, an American family from Oregon, whose daughter was very badly assaulted by one of the bartenders, the same company that we won't say now. It's the same company that we can't say. It was after her 16th birthday party while her family was cruising. And when the family took them to court, they tried to sabotage them. They tried to, defeat their character. They tried to immediately, they went for the child's school records. They tried to say that the family wasn't watching her. They also said that it was consensual and that there are no laws on open water that have anything to do with age, and that they're not responsible for their employees, well, as long as it's not something to do with their shifted, business on the shift. So if they're clocked out, they have no responsibility for them. And they did end up having to settle with this family, but it was all very discreet. And of course, in the end, the confidentiality is so tight that this family can never talk about it, can never share their experience, can never go after them again. Does this sound familiar?
For sure. Yeah. I mean, I remember learning about when that defense team, um, in Discovery again, they requested all of Amy's school transcripts and all that kind of stuff. So it's probably the same playbook. Um, you know,
Yeah,
and I think you'd be interested to talk to Jamie Barnett. I don't know if you know who this is.
I've
Yeah,
reached
but
out. Yeah, we've
she
talked.
probably knows more about all the legislative side of this than anyone I can think of. I might be giving um, some incorrect information here, but I think until 2010, cruise lines were not even required to report incidences. Uh,
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I believe that.
and
Yep.
so, you got these ships that are headquartered in the U.S. I don't know if all of them are, but some definitely are. Yet they fly flags from Norway and Liberia and Panama, and they're only subject to those countries' laws. Um, and
Yes.
then obviously the
Yes.
jurisdictional loopholes that exist in international waters
Yes.
and other sovereign countries make it, and not to mention the vast majority of the employees on these boats are foreign citizens. So it makes it,
Absolutely.
if an American citizen is harmed or disappeared or killed or sexually assaulted or whatever you want to call it, good luck.
Yeah. No, it's absolutely true. I mean, just at the time, I think when you guys were cruising, I think they were based out of Nigeria or somewhere
Norway.
that way. And then also, yeah, then they have offices, in Miami, and then they have their top shareholders are part of like like these Bahama groups. And the money is, it's interesting
That's
to say
very
the
carefully
least.
orchestrated.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then the one last thing about this case I wanted to say was there's also a Charles C. Harris, chief of security for one of the top three liners. And he's on record saying, no matter what, no matter how bad it is, you do not call the FBI until the room is clean. We have been told you start by giving bribes, upgrades, even liquor to customers until legal arrives. You don't do anything before legal arrives. You don't call for help, anything. And even when you know a crime has been committed, he says, quote, I was supposed to do everything in the world to make us look innocent.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I would imagine it's going to be the same thing for their top competitor when this is a billion dollar
Yeah, I mean,
industry.
and you gotta remember you have security uh, detail that is hired by this company and they're trained by this company, and their number one job is to protect the company that they're employed by through whatever means you want to imagine. But yeah, it's and that's not the. I don't know if what I've heard about a person saying pretty much the same thing you're saying in either a recent interview or maybe it was something that Stormy posted about either something he found or someone he talked to, a former employee that say exactly the same thing. Um, yeah, so
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. How does the family feel about the Amy Alert petition? Because I know that was an amazing idea that Kendra had. And I know it hasn't been getting too much traction because everything you have is so important and so busy. But is there a future for the Amy Alert? Is your family going to consider taking the reins? Because
Yeah,
I
we've
know.
already taken it to other levels.
Oh,
We love it.
okay,
We think it's
perfect.
an amazing idea. One of those things
Perfect.
that you know kick yourself for not having thought of before.
Right.
Kendra is
Yeah,
awesome. She's been pushing that thing. Unfortunately, you see all the millions of eyes on this thing, and I think it's maybe a little over 20,000 signatures. It should be a hell of a lot
yeah,
more than that.
Right.
But yeah,
yeah.
if something
Well,
like that were to be,
well, look what happened to her account
yeah,
though. She had thousands of followers, and just because she did that petition for you guys, her account was banned. She had to start
yeah,
from zero. So your idea of what's been happening is you're on
yeah,
point,
yeah.
Brad.
So,
Hmm.
if that were mandated, and another thing that people can obviously do is, push their or request through their state and local and federal elected officials, this type of legislation that these cruise companies are not going to do anything unless their hand is forced. If everybody on that ship had their smartphone and it had alerted them as soon as as soon as she was reported missing, it exponentially increases the chances that this wouldn't have happened. But so yeah, Kendra's awesome. We love the Amy Alert idea. We're taking it to other people, and
So good to
we're
hear.
sure gonna try to make it happen.
I've been taking notes about things that I want to make sure that I say. You might not be able to see that, but it says Kendra because I definitely
Oh,
wanted to mention her. She's been on Team Amy from the get go, and there's a lot of amazing things that have happened over the past 2 months. But I love that Amy alert. I love it. I love it. I love it. And so I'm glad.
same.
And it made me think, Brad, did you reach out to Kendra about that other petition?
I have not. No, I have
You
not.
got to do that.
Yeah, but at the same time, I don't want to. If this other gal on X offered to do that, and then I don't want to just
Oh,
ignore her and take it to someone else and say thanks for the idea, but I'm going to have someone else do it instead of you.
okay. I didn't
It's
know
a
that
little.
part.
I guess it's
I
a.
just read
I
about
know
it.
Kendra's overwhelmed anyway. She had said she's mommy in it out right now,
Yeah.
and I know she was just happy to help you guys. She wasn't trying to be in
No,
charge
no,
of
and
anything.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's definitely we're working on it a little bit.
Okay.
she's
That
a
just
good
made me
kid.
think of it when I saw it. I saw it was on here. Okay. I saw a couple of people on here just ask a couple quick questions. Amy would have been 51 years old. Her birthday was May 12th, and she was born in 1974, so she'd be 51 now. And no, Brad has not ever gone on another cruise since. Pretty sure he probably won't ever go on another cruise. And I did want to say, people were asking about how to get information about the petition that Kendra did. If there's a link tree on my page and on Brad's page that's in our bio here on TikTok. And if you go to that link tree, it has everything. It has the petition that Kendra created about the Amy alerts. There's another petition on there as well. The GoFundMe is on there. The Amy Bradley is missing.com website is on there. The email address to send leads and tips is on there. The link to buy this Justice for Amy t-shirt is on there. So just go to that link tree that's in my bio and or Brad's bio, and that has all of the links that you need.
That's awesome.
Yep.
All right, we ready to get to the fun part? Enough about the case. I want to know what saying, habit, or mannerism do you still have, Brad, today that comes from
Mm.
Amy?
I don't know that there's any particular saying that I remember or that I continue to use. The only thing that I can tell you for an answer to that question is, every now and then, my mom or dad will catch me making a certain face or doing something that, and they tell me that, it kind of takes them aback where I look exactly like her, where I remind them of her, like in that moment, and I don't really even know what it is that I do. But it's something about the way I hold my mouth in certain conversations, or I don't know what it is, but I think maybe there's just something genetically or uh,
You guys have the same face. It
Yeah.
could be that.
Hmm.
Something is ingrained in there that,
Yeah.
yeah, but I don't have any. I wish I had some funny saying that I used to say that I use. I can't tell you that I do.
I think she
Um.
said mannerisms too, though, not just songs.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah. That counted.
mannerisms, the love for
Yep.
music, the ability to sing, the competitiveness, being athletic. You know, you still see that in him that you saw in Amy. Being the loving, loyal child of Iva and Ron, you know, like Amy was. So there's definitely those mannerisms that, you know, we still see, you know, and see Amy through him. And it kind of takes your breath away sometimes. But
No, thank you, Sandy.
yeah.
Um. Brad, I'm assuming your wife never got the chance to meet
Unfortunately,
Amy.
not. No, we've only been together for. I was married previously, and then was divorced. So was my wife, and then we've been together about 15 years and married just 10 this past July.
So what I wanted to ask you is, what would your wife have loved most about Amy, and vice versa? What would Amy have loved most about her?
I think that um, my wife would love most about Amy the fact that she didn't give a rip. You know, she was super confident. She was very outgoing. She loved animals. That I know they would share. You know, their love for animals is, you know, matched, maybe other than mine, but at least I think so. So, um, you know, I think Amy would like that my wife is not, in particular, a very girly girl. You know, she was in the army. She's,
Oh.
I think, equally as much of a badass. I don't even know who I'd put up as a winner between two of them if they got into it. But they're both really tough girls. They both, you know, never met a stranger. Very easy to find conversation with both of them. Very outgoing, very confident in themselves. I think they'd like each other quite a bit.
Amanda, did you want to jump in and ask any questions here too? I've been asking everything.
No, I'm just kind of taking it all in, girl.
Okay.
I'm wondering, like, well, I think there's a section for this though, but I'm just wondering if Brad had anything else that he wanted to speak on, like regarding like any misconceptions, like that we were talking about before, like any of that. If he had anything that he personally wanted to address with that.
Uh, what do you mean about the family dynamics and this and that?
No, about like the common misconceptions that people put out on the internet about the past, like the case and everything.
Oh yeah,
Like,
yeah. So people, and I think Renner may be one of them that has started, you know, pushing this information out there. We found out that he sent in a request for records to the courts down in Miami and got a lot of documents from the court case. Now you have to remember that all of the documents that he is citing are from the company's defense. So, and you know, there's a lot of stuff in there that's not true. There's a lot of stuff in there that's crap. There's a lot of stuff in there that they'd like everybody to believe that isn't the case. You know, people don't know. You know, they think that, or they call us. They say that we committed fraud on the court. And what really happened in that situation is, so first of all, in maritime law, I don't know whether I'm going to say it correctly or not, but any court case that happens has to be in Miami, and so you're in a company town that is very much so influenced by these industries. You have a judge that's down in Miami. You have a whole set of defense attorneys who are based down in there in that area also. So what happened? You know, the case was, as people understand it, especially the people that don't care to, that care to besmirch my family's image. That case was dismissed, as far as they understand, because we committed fraud in the court, and we did not divulge or talk about all of the different eyewitness sightings during depositions. In depositions, you give answers to close-ended questions. So they ask you a question, you give the answer. You are not, I don't know whether you're not permitted, but you're certainly not encouraged to extrapolate and go on and on and on at length. You answer the question, basically. In discovery, which I talked about before, where the judge had submitted an order to pause discovery just prior to his dismissal, we submitted over 80 pounds of documents, which included every single thing that we had ever found out, that we ever learned, that we had ever been told, every single eyewitness, every single lead, every single everything. And because we didn't speak verbally about them all during depositions, the defense used that as a way to say that we perpetrated fraud on the court. So the judge paused discovery. The court, the case never made it to trial, and no matter what we did, it never was. I believe the fix was in well before we ever got down to Miami. So that judge puts a pause on discovery, dismisses the case with prejudice, which is against Florida State Supreme Court precedent, and many other precedents down in Florida for that matter. Our attorneys, several years after they were no longer really our attorneys, filed a motion to disqualify that judge. And this is Judge Simons. He passed some years ago, I believe. But they filed a motion to have him disqualified from the case. That same judge denied the motion on his own disqualification. So then the case was taken to the 3rd District Court of Appeals in Florida. They found that the petition for disqualification, quote unquote, had merit, and told the judge that he had 10 days to respond. The following day, he recused himself from the case, so as not to be responsible for having anything to do with it or being held responsible for answering any questions relative to it. So we were taken advantage of, and we didn't do anything wrong. We were obviously still under a tremendous amount of emotional stress and had no idea what we were doing. We're not litigious people. We've never done this before. We were taking advice from our attorneys. So again, I don't really care about all the people that want to say negative things. They don't care about us. They don't care about being helpful. They can just, flap their gums for all I care. But, the people that know us and love us know what happened down there. And I'm sure there are plenty of other families that we could find that would share similar experiences.
There are. I was about to piggyback because, not just in the Senate documents that I was referring to before, had they noted that families were talking to the judge, just like you had noted that their lawyer was speaking to the judge. This is common, but also we found another set of documents on our government website where our government basically goes straight after Curacao specifically for not recording any of these specific types of crimes. Mm-hmm. And even when they do something about it, they change it in court so that way a person who's really being charged with one of these heinous crimes ends up going to prison for a carjacking. So that way their statistics, and our government is like, this is a problem. You are altering your national statistics. There are documents. So, people can say, oh, Brad's making excuses all he wants. But, these documents that we've cited today are to our Senate on our government website. These are big. This is way bigger than Brad Bradley in this case. This is like, our government versus these industries. So people can say what they want. If you want to
take what corrupt government officials and defense attorneys for mega corporations say and call it fact, I don't know what to tell you. There's no helping you apparently.
Yep. Same. All right. Ready to go back to Amy? Okay. I want to ask you, Brad, what would Amy say if I asked her what was the most annoying thing about you growing up?
Oh, nothing.
Oh, come on, Brad. Something.
The only thing that I can think of at all is when I was little, she did not like for me to come into her room when I wasn't invited. And I'd go in there and she'd scream for mom and dad to get me out of there. And that was the only thing I think that I did that was annoying to her. But I mean, we're talking about, I'm like 6, 7, 8, 9 years old. You know?
Child.
But
Okay.
we didn't get on each other's nerves. We never, ever, ever had a cross word with each other. We never had an argument. We never were mad at each other. I mean, there was nothing annoying. You know, she never annoyed me. I never annoyed her from the time I was probably, 13 or 14 years old on.
That's amazing.
That's actually
crazy.
amazing.
That is.
Yeah.
My brother
Yeah,
drove
it really
me nuts.
Okay, I'm just
I'm
going
gonna
to
tell
jump
you.
in. I'm just going to share that you know who Lisa is, Brad, who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
She's my best friend, and she lived behind Amy and Brad. And I don't know if Grind is in here or not, but I sent the photo to him. Maybe he'll show it on Saturday. But it's a picture of Lisa's birthday party. And I think Lisa's turning like, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 years
The
old.
one at the bowling alley.
No,
Uh,
you'll see the picture. And it's all girls and then Brad. And that's what Lisa said. He was Amy's annoying little brother that always had to be with her. Like he had to go every single where.
Wait a minute. Did you say Lisa said he was an annoying little brother? Maybe we need to get Lisa up here to see how
No.
annoying
Well,
Brad
I will
was when
say,
he was little.
Lisa was like 6 or 7, so Brad is like 4 or 5. So that you know, and I'm like, he's so cute.
I'm sure there were times that I may have been annoying, and I just wasn't aware that I was being annoying.
Right. At that age, we're all annoying, trust me. But it is so
course.
cute. You have to see this picture of him in the middle of all of these little girls at this party. And he's the only guy. It's
I
precious.
can't wait. Okay. Brad, which parent was easier for Amy to work her magic and get her way with on something that was typically, a no or a strict rule or something like
Well,
that?
I mean, we were raised, again, I've talked about what amazing parents we have. And there was I can't really even think of a time when they told us no about anything. Their philosophy was say yes unless you just can't, or there's a really good reason to. So, I mean, my parents were always a united front. There was no like good cop, bad cop. They parented us as a team, and there wasn't any going around one of them to get to the other one, to get what you wanted. So I don't know that I can answer that one other than to say that they were.
Nope.
They were kind of fair
That's
and
a great
balanced,
answer. Yep, that's a great answer. What do you think Amy would be the most shocked to find out about your life now?
Probably what I do for a living. I mean, I don't. I think that she wouldn't be surprised that I've been successful and that I do well and everything. But to know that I'm, for instance, today I did 4 hip replacements and 2 knee replacements, and I think she would think that was pretty crazy. So that
And yeah, I can tell you from doing my research, your patients love you. You get the best reviews. I have read through a ton of them. They say you are just the sweetest and nicest.
Well,
they
thank
love
you.
All right. Who picked out the Zoom Miata for Amy, and how was it given to her?
So I think the story is that my mom and dad were taking her around to different places shopping for cars and finding what she wanted. They went to a place called Import Auto House on a road that has like tons of car dealerships on it, and Amy saw that Miata and kind of made over it and said, really, I like it. And then you got to understand, this place has like Porsches and BMWs and all kinds of, crazy things. And she zoned in on this Miata. And so they didn't get it for her then, but I'd say she picked it out. And then they secretly went back and got it for her and actually gave it to her. We all went up to the high school that we attended on Amy's last day of school as a senior. In 1992, and she walked out with her friends, and the car sitting there with a bow on it, in the circle where the buses pull through and all that kind of thing. So,
How amazing.
I have to interrupt just real quick because I've seen it like 1,700 times already. Brad is not a doctor, so don't start that rumor.
right, I'm a physician assistant, and I assist in the surgeries. I've done thousands and thousands, but I do work under my supervising physician, and I'm not a doctor myself.
But the next thing that it will be that you're on here lying, claiming to be a doctor. So I was like, let me just clarify that right now.
Thank you for saving me from that.
Yeah.
All right. Brad, we know that you and Amy were a lot of fun, especially as you got older, and we want to see how fun Brad and Sandy are today. So we want to give you guys a rapid pop question. We want answers real fast from both of you, if you don't mind, okay? All right. Favorite recent song?
Lose Control, Teddy Swims. Yeah.
Good one.
Sandy, you got to go right
sorry.
after him.
I thought it was like first one to
Yes,
answer.
both of you. No,
Mine
both
would
of
probably
you.
be
Nope.
a Christian song, so you probably wouldn't know. But gosh, that's terrible. I should definitely be like rapid fire on this. And I'm
Your
not even
songs.
think of anything right now.
You have your
I
own
know.
songs, and you can't think of anything.
Keep going because I don't want to hold up this line. I'll think of one.
Okay,
What is one?
okay. When was your last shot of tequila?
And I was 13 years old.
Yeah, it was. I don't do tequila. I'm a bourbon guy. So I mean, I might have had one years and years ago. I don't even remember. But no, I'm not a tequila guy.
Favorite beer?
Falcon Smash.
Yep, and I don't drink beer. Ugh.
I've never heard of a Falcon Smash. Have you, Amanda?
Yeah, so
That's different.
I think it might be. It's a local brewery called Triple Crossing here. It's a, and I don't like IPAs at all. I can't do the extra hoppy stuff. Again, I'm kind of a bourbon and Coke kind of guy, so I don't do beer very much. But when I do, that Falcon Smash is actually an IPA that I like a lot. So if I'm somewhere and they
Shout out
have
to
it,
Falcon
maybe
Smash.
I'll get some and send it to you guys.
Yes, that would be awesome.
So
Yeah.
All right.
I'm not giving you a song. I have favorite artists, but I did just see someone say Toby Mac, and I will just say yes. The guitar player for Toby Mac flew in on Saturday night and played at our event, so I saw that in there. So I love Toby Mac too, but I love them all.
That's amazing.
What about your favorite beer, Sandy? You didn't answer
I don't
that.
drink. I mean, back in the day, we did I just really do not drink beer. You are not going to come to my house and get offered a beer. I can promise you it's not. Yeah. I definitely would prefer, a drink more than I would a beer. I'm only going to drink a beer if I have to. Yeah.
I like that. All right. Favorite rap artist? You have to have
Outkast.
one.
Rakim.
Ooh, good one.
Yeah. That's a
Okay.
good one.
Yeah. I saw him
Good
in
one.
concert.
That
I
is a
actually
good
went and saw
one.
him in concert just a few years ago. He's still got it.
Yeah, that guy's an amazing lyricist. I remember "Follow the Leader" was one of my favorite songs back in the day.
It's the R.
Yeah.
I can rap the Beastie
Oh, goodness.
Boys if you
All right.
need me to.
That will be. Listen, that's the app. That's the what is it called? The encore. When the show's over, that's what we need right here.
That's after party.
All right. Yep. After party. Favorite Netflix binge that you don't star in?
Dallas
please?
Cowboys.
All right.
The new one with I think it's called The Gambler, and the one about Jerry Jones and the whole thing. That's the one I keep watching over and over right now.
I think my favorite series is the Untold series. It's a documentary.
That's good too.
They have a lot of good stories on there. Yes, if I'm going to watch something like that, I can get into those.
That would be it. All right. Sports teams.
Dallas Cowboys.
Oh,
I could figure that.
I'd have to say my favorite sports team is the Michael Jordan Era Bulls. If I had to say lifelong, nowadays, and I don't know when the shift occurred in me, but I don't really care who's playing as long as it's a good game. I mean, I like to watch certain players that are fun to watch, but I can't really say I have a favorite sports team. Now, I actually more like individual sports like tennis and golf and different players again, but I'm going to stick with the Bulls. And also, my dad's favorite team back in the day was the Celtics when Larry Bird was around. And so that era of basketball.
Yes, Ron. I'm a Boston girl right here. Yes.
So I'd have to say that I'd go with Jordan and the Bulls.
I like that right there. I did notice in your documentary when your dad's showing the home footage to the balcony and you guys are on the cruise, you guys already have the darn basketball game playing in your cabin on your TV.
Yeah.
I did notice that. All right. Coke or Pepsi?
Pepsi. I used to be a Coke guy, and I switched at some point.
I'm feeling like terrible, like I'm not answering your questions, but I'm segueing and
She's like,
saying
I don't
people
drink
always
soda.
say, "How are your teeth so white, Sandy?" I don't smoke cigarettes, I don't drink red wine, and I've never ever drank soft drinks. And those are the three things that stain your teeth the most. So I
Ever
don't
drink
have a
a
soft
soft
drink
True.
drink?
either. I'm like so boring over here.
But you've never had one though?
Never had one what?
A soft drink.
Soft drink.
I can probably I'm 51, so to say I've never had one, I'm sure I have it, but I can honestly say I've never bought them. Like they're not in my house. That's not something that we drink. There's milk and water and Gatorade in there, and tea. I drink a lot of hot tea. That's my drink of choice. But I've never ever gone to the grocery store and like bought a 12-pack of like Coke for the house. Like that's never happened.
That's so
Yeah.
funny.
If I get down to like 3, I'm running to the store.
Oh no,
Same.
no, definitely not.
I buy 4 12-packs at a time usually.
Yeah.
Mhm.
If you're at a
Yeah,
company
same.
outing and your only option is like a Coke or something, of course you're going to drink. But like purchasing that would not be my thing at
And
all.
what I will say is I do drink,
I have to near me
Wow. Yeah.
I
No.
do drink
in case I
I
got
do
thirsty.
drink caffeine-free diet Pepsi though. So
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Even worse.
That's good. It's a little better. All right, last concert you attended.
go ahead, Sandy. Your own.
Yeah. I was going to say oh no, Emerson Day I did see Emerson Day the week before that. That was awesome.
Well,
Amazing.
the last concert, like music concert, my wife and I went down to North Carolina to see Iration and Revolution, reggae concert. But the last concert I went to was the Adam Sandler concert a week or so ago, which was just an awesome life experience. That I've loved that guy for 30 years, man, and we had a ton of fun at that thing.
I can't believe he got you guys up on the jumbotron. That was
Me neither.
amazing.
I mean, he was shining his flashlight around like I need a married couple. So I popped up and he picked us and sang a really funny song, making fun of us, or making fun of me mostly. But it was awesome. I really, I know Sandy reached out trying to, see if anyone was able to get us the video from that, and hopefully one day that might happen. But I tend to doubt it. But it was awesome. Yeah.
We're gonna look for that.
I love Adam
All right,
Sandler.
we're wrapping it up. Yeah,
So-
same.
Can I? What were you? Are you wrapping
Yeah,
it up?
yep.
Is that what you were going to say?
Yeah, I wanted to get to the last two because we only
Do
have
that.
2 more of the if offs. Okay, beaches or mountains?
Mountains.
Beaches. I'm Sandy for a reason.
And last one, Friends or Seinfeld?
Friends all day, every
I'll
day.
go with Seinfeld on that one.
Ah,
I mean, I like both of them.
me
I like
too.
both of them, but I think I watched
Same.
Seinfeld for a longer period of time.
Yeah, I watch
Mhm.
Friends on repeat, so that's definitely my jam. Yeah. So
All right.
before we wrap this up, thank you again. Definitely, but I have seen this one sweet. I'll assume she's sweet, but she has asked over and over and over again in here, and I didn't want to interrupt about any new leads. And what I would say to that is thousands, like literally thousands of leads have come in since that documentary. Some are ridiculous right away, and they just get moved on along. Some of them we don't even like send to the family or to the private investigating team because we look right at it and we're like, oh Lord, no. So yes, literally thousands of leads come in. There have been probably, maybe a handful, Brad, would you say, that have kind of been where we've kind of,
Yeah, we're worthy
Taking
of looking deeper into for sure. I mean, nothing like groundbreaking, oh my God stuff, but things that are credible enough that we've got to rule out and we've got to make sure, what we're hearing, we need to verify it or not,
Yeah.
But
And there was one that came in today earlier. I was on a live with Brian when it was all going down, and there was someone on TikTok that was reaching out, and we've passed that information along. I spoke to the private investigator this afternoon. He got some information. There's been some further conversations this evening. He and I texted back and forth around 6 o'clock, and he said he was talking. He was still talking with them even at that point. So, when leads come in, they are when they're credible. You know, like I said, there are some that we know immediately, like we're not going to waste our time. We know that's not Amy. But the ones that are credible, we take them very seriously, and we do forward them on, and they are looked into. So, yeah, one did come in today that did make us all, take pause and go, hold on, this is one that we need to address. So it's being addressed, and
Exciting.
as you can imagine, we can't say much, right? So, I mean, trust me, the world would know immediately if we've done it, if we've accomplished the goal. But we do get excited at times, but we try to taper that as well and not get ahead of ourselves. So, take the deep breath and just wait to see what happens.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Um,
Amanda, did you want to say anything before we go?
Well, I did pick out a few questions that were asked a lot, like in the chat, especially at the beginning. I wrote some down so that I wouldn't forget. But it's just I'm hoping they're simple.
yes.
One is, what was Brad's funniest memory of Amy?
Oh man, you caught me off guard with that one.
I'm so sorry.
Funniest memory. I guess it would have to be, my dad used to have this bass boat that he would take us all out tubing and flip us all over the lake, and bathing suits are flying and people are, puking and swallowing water. And some of those times were, the funniest times I had. I've heard a lot of really, really funny stories that from Amy's friends in college and things like that, but I wasn't there. I wasn't there to share, the details of them. But, Creekwood, the neighborhood that we grew up in, playing flashlight tag. I mean, there's all these little individual memories, but there's nothing like this one crazy story that's super hilarious that I can recall on the spot. But now that you've asked me, I'm going to think about that a lot and see if I can get back to you and share that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I would love to hear it.
So this one, all right. So this one, my mom just reminded me on the text. So
Oh, he's probably reading that text. Hold on.
He's checking
I
the
had
text.
an accidental party one time, and this isn't necessarily funny, but this just goes to show that Amy, took care of things. I worked at this gas station with a buddy of mine, and it was like a Bullets and Dunkin' Donuts and stuff like that. But there were the high school. I didn't go to the same high school as the people that went there. So I told these people, I was having a couple friends over. They told their whole high school, and then somehow half my high school found out. So there's literally like hundreds of people that show up at my parents' house when they're out of town. Amy wasn't there. I remember standing in the kitchen looking out through the kitchen window, and there was nothing but a sea of people. You couldn't see any part of my backyard. And Amy came in